Good morning. Just going to wait for some of you to get logged in. I see I have one person so far, two people. Wait just a couple minutes. Hey, Zach. Hey, Reagan. All right, so we are going to end this book today. So when we last read yesterday, we left off when Tyler and Zizi left, and those were the children that that John and Marta were fostering. And we ended where John had built a shelf on the guest bedroom where Zizi and Tyler stayed, as well as Jacob stayed. And on that shelf, he put their shoes. So he put the pair of Jacob's old shoes, and he put Tyler and Zizi's old shoes when they lived there as well. All right, so, excuse me. We are ending this book today, so here we go. Hey, Elijah. Chapter 48. Okay. Children came and children went. John and Marta built an addition on the farmhouse and added beds. The fewest children they ever had at one time was 2. The most was 7. Kids needed homes, and neither John nor Marta could say no when Mrs. Floyd called. So it looks like they've been taking kids in and out throughout, this time, and they added more rooms on their houses so that they could foster more children. At the general store, Shep Martin said he was going to start a whole new store just to stock jelly beans. The manager of the shoe store in a nearby town gave them a permanent discount because they bought so many pairs of shoes. John added shelves to the original one in their bedroom. There were now 29 pairs of old shoes lined up. So they've taken in a lot of kids. Before John and Marta went to sleep each night, they went down the rows of shoes and said the name of each child who had been with them. Many had acquired nicknames. All had left their marks. Jacob, Tyler, Zizi, Maggie Moo, Boyd, Sammy Salami, Shayna, Delaney, Fitzy Boo, Luke, Michaelite, Hunter, Lanina Lapalong, Mac, Shakira, Roy Boy, Harry, Jessie Messy, Carly Darley, Nilly, Lily, Ocean, Rosie Girl, Joey, Freddie, Ginny Jumper, Hank, Susanna, and Frank. Each one had come with a story, and each one left a story behind. Remember when Mac fell asleep in the truck and we thought he'd run away? Remember when little Bitsy Bo jumped out of the tree and landed on Mama Goat, and Mama Goat took off and dumped her in the pond? Remember when Lily sang you a song when you were sick? Remember when Freddie and Ginny Jumper tried to make pancakes? Some of the children were there a few months, some of them a year or more. Soon after they arrived, they would notice the shelves of shoes and ask about them. Either John or Marta would tell them the story of Jacob, whose shoes were the first on the shelf. Nearly every child after that wanted to know the story. Nearly every child after wanted to know the story behind each pair of shoes. And those red ones, whose were those? And the sandals, whose were those? And so John and Marta told their stories. They told when each child came and what they were like and how long they were there. Boyd, a serious 9-year-old, asked John, "And what will you say about me when I'm gone? What will my story be?" "Well, now," John said, "I'm not sure yet. I won't know until you're gone." Shakira, a wild-eyed, wild-haired 12-year-old, said, "Tell my story like this. Shakira came to us on a thundery day, and she didn't trust anybody. And then she fell in love with a kitten, and she didn't want to leave, but she had to. But she'll come back." The end. Early one morning, they found Luke and Bitsy Bo on the front porch staring down the drive. Marta thought maybe they were hoping their mother would show up. Looking for somebody? She asked them. Bitsy Bo, who had green eyes and a worried brow, said, "Yep." "You want to say who that might be?" "Her brother," Luke answered. "We're looking for that boy." "Boy? Which boy?" "That boy you found on your porch? The boy that rode a cow?" Bitsy Bo twisted a strand of hair round and round her finger. "He'll be back." "Oh," Marta said, "you sound so sure." "Sure, I'm sure." Later that day, Bitsy Bo climbed onto Marta's lap and said, "I'll come back." And she did. Bitsy Bo and Luke visited every summer. Lily Ocean and Rosie Girl returned each Thanksgiving. A few were in and out of foster care, reappearing to take up where they had left off. Sometimes at night, John would say to Marta, "It's okay here, isn't it?" And she would say, "It's a nut house, but yes, it's okay here. Yes, it is." Often they thought about Jacob and they imagined where he might be. Whenever they were in the barn, they liked to gaze at Jacob's paintings, still there, barely faded. "Even if we never see him again," Marta said one day, "we will know he was here." "Remember when he used to lie on the porch with the dog? Remember that? Remember his tapping? Remember the music he made?" "Sure I do. That boy, that boy. I wonder what became of that boy." Even on the most difficult days, it brought them comfort to remember the boy who rode a cow. So it seems as if some of the other children that they've fostered throughout the years have come back to visit them, but not Jacob. Chapter 49. Early one morning, Marta stepped out onto the front porch to breathe in the air, to inhale a few minutes of quiet before all the children awoke. There were now 6 staying with them, and they were an energetic group: Stefina, Jamie, Jock, Ruby, Harley, and Weezer. The beagle, the old now and half dead, was sniffing the porch floor eagerly, following his nose to a parcel sitting near the door, and a parcel is a package. "What's that? A package for us?" The dog whimpered pitifully. "Oh, you dog, you'll get some breakfast in a minute." It was a flat parcel, about a foot square, wrapped in brown paper and tied with twine. There was no name or address on it. Maybe one of the kids put it there, she thought. Maybe it was something for school. She forgot all about the parcel as she went on, waking the children and preparing breakfast. But Stefina found it and brought it inside. No one seemed to know anything about it. "Open it," John suggested. "It must be for us." "Oh, I don't know." Open it," the children chanted. "Open it, open it." And so she did. John stood behind her, his hand on her shoulders. Both of them stared at the painting. Finally, John said, "Wow, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." "I know." It was an elegant painting of a boy riding a cow with a beagle alongside. Chapter 50. They were not art experts, John and Marta, but the painting looked as polished and professional as they had ever seen. They would have known its artist was Jacob, even if it weren't for the signature at the bottom. So those of you that put Jacob in the comments, yep, it was him. They lay awake most of the night, speculating about how the boy had found them and when or if he might reappear. Maybe tomorrow. We shouldn't get our hopes up, but maybe, well, surely. They were alert to every crunch of the gravel drive, every footstep on the porch. Could that be him? As the days and weeks went by, with no sign of Jacob, John and Marta alternated between despair and hope. Is he gone again so soon? Will we ever see him again? But he remembered us. He found us. He will come back. But maybe not. Marta leaned against the cow, now old and thin. "You hang on, cow," Marta whispered. "When Jacob comes back, he'll want to see you." The next time John made rounds into town, he stopped at the general store as usual. He had been wondering how Jacob had found his way back to their place in order to leave the painting. And so he asked Shep if anyone had been looking for him. Not that I recall, but then I'm not here every day anymore. I got my son-in-law working up here some days. He's half worthless, but there you go. When John walked into the sheriff's office, Darlene, the receptionist, was on the phone. From habit, John scanned the bulletin board. Remember when John used to go in there and look at the bulletin board to see if anyone was looking for a boy? Lost. So this is what the bulletin board says. So you can see. Lost. That old coonhound of mine. He's run off again. If you see him, call Vernie Gossam, 555-7834. Next one on the bulletin board. Absolutely no dumping in the church dumpster. We mean it. Next one on the bulletin board. Found 4 kittens, cute things, good for mice. Ask Darlene. When the door opened behind him, John heard the sheriff's voice. Well, there, I hear you got more kids at your place. Yep, a real energetic group this time. They're good kids, though. Don't know how you have the patience. The sheriff slid the back of his hand across his badge. You still got that old beagle? That's right. Hey, don't suppose anyone's been in here looking for us, You expecting somebody to be looking for you? The sheriff said. Nah, sometimes kids need help finding their way back. That's all. I was just wondering. Darlene interrupted her call and held the phone to her chest. Somebody did. That's so, the sheriff said. Some kid or some bill collector. Haha. John tried to appear casual. He leaned against the counter. So somebody was looking for us? Darlene held up her finger. I'll call you back, Flo. Bye. Darlene tapped her fingers on the decks. Howdy. You got some more kids up there, I hear. Yep. It's like a revolving door up there, isn't it? Yep. I don't know how you have the energy. Did you say someone was looking for us? Oh, yeah. When was that? I can't hardly remember. One day from the next round here. Hey, the sheriff said. Did you ever hear from that boy again? That cow riding boy? What cow riding boy? Darlene said. Remember they had a young boy dropped off at their place years ago. Remember that? And that boy used to ride a cow. A cow. So now we know it has been years since Jacob was dropped off. I don't remember anything about a cow riding boy. I can hardly remember my own name some days. Did you say somebody was looking for us? So John is still trying to figure it out. Oh, yeah, some young college kid. Couple of college kids, actually. Was one of them a boy? I can't hardly recollect, but I think there were maybe a couple boys and a girl. Yeah, there was a girl with them. Pretty little thing. She did all the talking, asking about you and Marta. College kids? And was one of them a boy? Like I said, yeah, I think so. I mean, that was a week ago, maybe longer. Like I said, I can't hardly remember one day from the next around here. John returned to Shep's store and bought an extra sack of jelly beans, just for old time's sake, he thought. And that night, John and Marta hung Jacob's painting of the boy riding a cow in their bedroom above the shelves of shoes, where it would be the last thing they saw at night and the first thing they saw in the morning. Chapter 51, last chapter. The old beagle had not been well for several days. He hadn't eaten, and when he was outside, he merely dragged himself to a nearby bush and lay beneath it, pawing the dirt as to make himself a bed. At night, John had to carry the beagle back inside. One of the children, Weezer, said, "Don't let him die. Please don't let him die." To Marta, John said, "Don't think this old dog is long for this world. I hope those kids won't blame us if we can't keep him alive." Marta lifted the dog onto their bed. It will be a sad day when he's gone. When they heard the dog wailing the next morning, a pitiful wail that seemed to come from the hollows of his insides, they feared the worst. The dog was not in their room or in the kitchen. They found him by the front door, weakly scratching at it. "Let him out, John, the poor thing." John had barely opened the door when the dog scooted through the opening, his nails clicking and sliding on the wood. They hadn't seen him move so fast in months. And then they saw what the beagle was after. There, asleep in the old cushioned chair on the porch, was a young man. And beside him was a guitar, a paint box, and a blank canvas. He was back. And that is the end. So, Jacob came back. I'm assuming that he is grown and he is in college now, but he did come back for them. All right, I am going to see you in just a couple minutes on Zoom. Be sure to check your Canvas inbox. I know, guys. No, not the end. Sad faces. I know. We'll talk about it on Zoom. All right, I will see you in a couple minutes. Bye, guys.